Alright, tough guy, you want to talk about the Switch? We can go there. We can talk about the Nintendo Switch. I know it's got a sequel. I saw the announcement. I also saw the leaks. I buried my nose deep in there and took a big huff. But I won't be speaking on the leaks directly for fear of my life. I feel as though if Nintendo caught wind of me talking about leaks, they would send an ICBM to my house to take me out and then serve my next of kin a lawsuit just out of spite. So we're not really going to be tiptoeing there, but I will at least talk about a couple of the rumors. That's alright, I'm sure. I mean, does a bear shit in the woods, you know what I mean? I'm sure that's probably safe. But yeah, I have been pretty vocal about, not being the biggest fan of Nintendo as a company. I do always like the games they put out. Their first-party titles always slap, but I just don't really like Nintendo themselves. With that bias out of the way, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Also, another bias to get out of the way, I've also been vocal about how disappointingly underpowered the Nintendo Switch is. It's got about the same amount of power as my calculator in high school used to have. It's pretty laughable. And while they haven't fully revealed the specs on the Nintendo Switch 2, there are leaks about it, which you won't find me speaking on. I'm treating that like Voldemort. But there are rumors that it will be about as powerful as a PS4 Pro, which I think is pretty fucking good. I've said for a long time, I don't think graphics are the most important thing when it comes to games, so as long as they can just get a consistent 60 FPS, I'm happy with that. And as long as they have a hard drive that can store more than like 2 JPEGs on it, I'm happy there too. Because the base Nintendo Switch, I could only ever install 3 games at any one time. It was just this frustrating headache of playing musical chairs, just perpetually juggling these games around just to make space. And I know I could have bought like an external hard drive for more space, but I shouldn't need to buy an accessory just to store more than 3 fucking titles. Anyway though, while the specs haven't been revealed, the design has. So it's very similar to the original Switch. I'm not going to play any bit of the video because I feel Nintendo might strike the video if I played even a single fucking frame of this thing moving. I just don't take any chances when it comes to this company anymore. But this is what it looks like. And I know some people, at least based on chat's reaction to it, are pretty disappointed that it's not like a complete reinvention of a Switch. It's just a bigger version of it, which I personally don't think is a problem at all if you just set the Switch to Wumbo. I think that's fine because as far as handheld devices go, they kind of nailed that. Like even the Steam Deck follows a very similar design. Like they did get it right with the Wii U's design for handheld gaming, and the Switch went and refined it. It's not really going to keep changing its form all that much, like some kind of grand metamorphosis into a fucking butterfly. I'm pretty satisfied with how it looks. It's a bigger screen, a little more real estate for my man paws to get around, and by that I mean 5'6" meaty paws. Not that impressive. The point is, like, it feels chunkier, but it looks chunkier. So that's good. And as long as the spec leaks are accurate, it's going to be decently powerful. For the first time in a long time, Nintendo will actually have hardware in the 21st century. We did it. We finally made it. We're finally there. I'm honestly kind of surprised because I half expected them to play hardball and double down on this reluctance to enter the modern age. I thought there was a chance that for the Switch 2, they'd release the specs and it'd be like the same 1-to-1 carbon copy formula as like the Ouya or something like that. Just severely lacking in the hardware department. But if all of the leaks and rumors are true, it will be very solid, which is great. Now, since this reveal, there have been a lot of Nintendo enthusiasts that have been clowning on me for a tweet I made a while back where I was making fun of Nintendo with pretty low-hanging fruit. I made a tweet saying Nintendo's going to reveal the Nintendo Switch 2 requires a hand crank to power it, which I think is kind of a banger. It's not the most inspired tweet, but it's just one of those on the toilet bowl, might as well poop a little something out onto Twitter type tweets. And I let it rip, and then this got revealed, and they're talking about how poorly aged that was. It's not like I seriously thought they were going to do that, like power it with a hamster and a wheel or anything. I was just making a joke about how out of touch Nintendo is when it comes to tech, or in general, really. Nintendo is just unbelievably out of touch across the board in every aspect and avenue. But that's neither here nor there. Overall, I'm pretty optimistic with the Switch 2. There were some people in chat saying that the Joy-Con port looks like a possible failure point, where when you like slap it on, if you put it in incorrectly, it looks like it could just snap off. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I understand the argument because it does look like it could break off with a little rough housing or if you just put them in wrong, incorrectly. But I think there's just a very good chance that it's built pretty sturdy. Like it looks kind of durable from just that brief glance, but when the Switch 2 arrives, I'll put it through its paces. I'll give it like a fucking ring dinger, like I'm doing a chiropractic adjustment on it. We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of like my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2. It looks about how I expected it to, and the specs are a lot better than I expected them to be, but we haven't seen a whole lot from it yet, other than like a little glimpse at the new Mario Kart, which is hype. But yeah, I'm more optimistic about it than I thought I would be. Now, I would like to show you a little something special that we went over on stream. It was already leaked to be Mario Kart 9. Love to hear that. Also, speaking of leaks, did anyone see what Hideki Kamiya had to say about it? His take on leakers is... he's drawn a hard line. I hope that all of the people who leaked Switch 2 information, / those who helped leak it, will be cursed for the rest of their lives to always have poop on the soles of their shoes when they get home. The shitty leaker only acts for his own pleasure and self-satisfaction. Not only is he not contributing to anyone's benefit, he is incurring all sorts of opportunity losses and has done nothing to be proud of in front of others. He is the worst of scum, so he should be covered in shit from head to toe and thrown out of the atmosphere and then stop thinking and wander forever. These damn leakers are in a position of responsibility where they have access to information that only a very select few know, yet what they do is nothing more than an expression of a filthy desire for approval that lacks a shred of rationality. They are shameful people, so it is not the manufacturers whose secrets have been exposed who should be blamed, but these damn people, and they need to be crushed as soon as possible. If you guys don't know Hideki Kamiya, he has amazing rants. He's also like very notorious for blocking everybody. Literally everybody that ever breathes blocks them. Oh yeah, one of his big things is he will block you off rip if you don't speak Japanese. Yeah. If you don't speak Japanese, you are insta-blocked. I forget, are you blocked by him? Let's see, I imagine I am blocked by him, but I'll double check. I don't go on Twitter, so there's a chance I'm not. I am not blocked. Leakers destroy planned marketing that basically wastes money for everyone involved. That's why we get crappy reveals like this one. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of arguments for like why people don't like leakers. I get it. Yeah, I know you're staring at the blueberry stain on my white shirt. What's the big deal? It's called being human. What, and you're so perfect? You've never made a little whoops-a-daisy, a little accident on your shirt while eating some blueberries? What are you, the berry brigadier or something? Never spills? Wow, I'm so proud. How impressive. Just get over it, tough guy. Anyway, though, what I want to talk about today, but not in too much detail for fear of some kind of legal repercussions for talking about it, what I'd like to cover briefly, vaguely, is the Game Freak hack that just happened. Probably one of the biggest leaks I've seen since the Insomniac moment, where pretty much everything Insomniac is and has been working on came to light. Something similar, not quite to that level, just happened with Game Freak. And since I've been gnawing on Nintendo's teats for a little bit here, baring my fangs, letting them know that I'm not happy with Nintendo's recent behavior, a lot of people are wondering why I haven't been talking about this more, because I've been on Nintendo like fart on poop, and I haven't talked much about these leaks. The reason's pretty obvious. I don't mind poking the sleeping bear occasionally playing, like Pokemon mods for TCG Simulator, or making fun of and insulting this company for their greed and downright nefarious evil practices. But when it comes to leaks, it's a little bit different. I've covered leaks in the past, like when Suicide Squad Board the Justice League Kill the Franchise came out. There were some leaks before it where it showed like UI as well as a little bit of gameplay. And I talked about that on stream and even had like a little clip in a video. Both those pieces of content got blasted. So I had to redo the video and take down that stream to get rid of that stuff. It wasn't a strike or anything, they just got taken down. They got blocked. So it is something that is taken seriously, and that was for Suicide Squad. That doesn't hold nearly the same amount of water that Pokemon does. And Nintendo is litigious and petty, and they are always out for blood, just hunting for any excuse to fuck someone in the face. It doesn't matter. Like how tiny or trivial something may appear, Nintendo will go hog wild with it. They would probably go perform a vasectomy on a man if they found out he posted deviant art that was unflattering of Princess Peach, just out of spite. They protect their IP with an iron fist, and they have no qualms about doing some dirty deeds to keep it under their paws. So a breach like this, a hack, a leak like this, is a huge deal and something they're taking very seriously. And I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about or show from this because I don't know how vengeful Nintendo will be. So I'm going to try and tiptoe around like specifics and instead just talk about the basics because it's huge. Not only did they get all kinds of like top secret projects that are being worked on and code names, they got real names of employees and tons of information about the actual people that work there. It is a huge breach. And the biggest thing that's spinning from this that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of now is there was some lore, which is a term I'm using very loosey-goosey for this, lore around some Pokemon they found. And the biggest one that had people raising an eyebrow wondering what kind of fishy business is going on at Nintendo for this was around Typhlosion. There were other stories with other Pokemon that not even Tumblr's weirdest fanfic writers would have ever even thought of because they're just so fucking odd. Like, a couple of them revolved around Pokemon impregnating humans. I don't understand what they thought they were cooking with that. That shit is foul. Like, not even deviant art would have made something to that level. Like in one of them I was reading, I don't want to get into specifics because I don't know how Nintendo's going to respond to this whole thing, but in one of them, a girl gets pregnant from a Pokemon. The Pokemon ends up getting stabbed by her friends and thrown into a lake, and then she throws herself into the lake, and as a result, her friends and everyone starts treating that Pokemon better. They stop stabbing and killing that Pokemon. But like, why are these Pokemon impregnating humans? So the Typhlosion one is probably the weirdest one. Like, that's why this one has become like the breakout of all of these, because it is peculiar. I've just gotta take you through this story, though, at least the basics of it. So it begins with this, verbatim. A long time ago, when the boundary between Pokemon and humans was unclear. What do you mean? How was there ever an unclear boundary between human and Pokemon? You can see where this is going, and it's fucking weird. Like, how was there ever any uncertainty? I know it became a big meme online with smash or pass Pokemon shit, but you have to keep in mind this is the official Nintendo stamp of approval as something they were almost going to use as an idea. Like in the leaks, there's a bunch of concept art and shit that never got actually used, and this is one of those components where this was something they were ideating on. This idea that there was a period in time where humans were fucking Pokemon. That is baffling. Anyway, though, the rest of the Typhlosion story goes that Typhlosion was a shapeshifter, it kidnapped a girl, kept going out to get berries, they'd eat berries and fall asleep together, and eventually they had a child together. And one of the quotes is, "Your father's looking for you, but you are my wife, I will have to fight him." So the Typhlosions gaslit this girl into staying with him and having a child together, and then the girl's like, "Don't kill my father. If you kill my father, how could I stay with you? You're a good person. Don't kill him." Eventually, Typhlosion's like, "Okay." And then the girl's like, "You need to let yourself be killed by my father." And he's like, "Okay, goodbye," and dies. He gets killed by the father. And the half Pokemon, half human child that the girl carries from the Typhlosion is subject to ridicule and disgust from the village that she's from. Eventually, after being teased for so long, her and the child vanish into the forest, and the story concludes with, "And so people came to understand that Typhlosions are half human beings." Wow. That's one of those moments where the fucking Twilight Zone theme plays right there at the end, or like the Saw theme right at the end with the crazy twist moment. It is bizarre. And that's only like the smallest piece of these leaks. That's just the one that I know a lot of people have latched onto because of how weird and wacky it is, but the leaks are huge. The amount of information that they got from Game Freak through this hack is crazy. I have no doubt whoever instigated this, whoever actually like orchestrated this hack, will be found dead soon. Nintendo will not leave them breathing. Nintendo, of course, is very litigious, like I mentioned, but in a case like this, I feel like they are going to go the extra mile and actually execute this person publicly. They will probably put this person and broadcast it on every platform. They'll have a fucking special Pokemon Unite season event for it where they kill the hacker. Like, they are probably so mad and trying to explore the most extreme options to get this person. I am super curious to see how the rest of this plays out, because it is a big leak. I haven't talked about the big stuff, but if you've read up on the leak, you've already seen some of it. So, you know, I did want to at least speak on it a little bit. I'd love to be able to talk more on it, but I don't want to get in trouble with Nintendo, because I think they're probably fuming right now, and they might just start lashing out at anybody even loosely covering the leaks. So, that's really about it. So, yeah. You saw Nintendo is suing a streamer for streaming a pirated Switch game. I meant to look into that. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to check that out. That is a bold, bold move. To be streaming a pirated Switch game, knowing how litigious and vengeful Nintendo is. Let me see, who was it? Nintendo suing a streamer of pirated software for millions of dollars. The defendant has been streaming gameplays before the titles were even released. Ooh! How stupid are you? Oh my god. Every game guru who it's accusing of streaming gameplays of pirated games before they were even released and providing viewers access to illegal ROMs and piracy tools. His goose is cooked if that's true. Let me see. What has he said about it? Wait, this is interesting. I thought it was just like he was streaming, you know, Super Mario 64 on an emulator. He pirated the game and he streamed it. How dare he? Rah, rah, rah. Oh, Nintendo big bad bully on the block gonna fucking spit in your butt. But no, it seems like this guy really did it to himself, if that's true. His YouTube channel is gone. He does have a Twitter. Nope, his Twitter is gone. Oh, they vaporized him already. They de-atomized him like Dr. Manhattan. And no, his Twitter's still up. He scrubbed it, though. There's only 4 posts left. He streamed 10 different games before release. Poking the bear like that is nuts. Messing around with Nintendo and pirating their games is like fucking with the cartel. I don't know why he didn't think he was going to get skinned alive. In its lawsuit, the company said the defendant live streams himself playing games on YouTube, Discord, Twitch, TikTok, Trovo. What the fuck is Trovo? Kick Vaughn? D-Live? What year is it? What kind of place is this, huh? Picarto, Nemo, and Loco. I feel like he made up like 4 of these. That's like his own personal websites. Interesting. Very, very interesting. He was definitely putting himself out there, trying to stand out in the crowd, often with very little commentary. Okay. Apparently, every game guru streamed gameplays of at least 10 different titles before their official release date in at least 50 occasions since 2012. Oh, man. He had so many opportunities to just stop. And he just couldn't do it. The 15 combined viewers across 45 platforms was just too enticing for him. The clout. The audience needed him. The bat signal was up for every game guru. Picarto is a not suitable for work art streaming site. He was just posting this to everywhere that had live streaming capabilities. He was probably trying to like blast this into like university exclusive websites. I'm surprised Vimeo's not on here. Every game guru allegedly streamed Mario & Luigi Brothers Ship on October 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 29th, way before its official release on the 7th. After Nintendo got the videos taken down from various platforms, including YouTube, he continued live streaming on Loco and even included a QR code for his Cash App handle. How stupid is this guy? This might actually be one of the dumbest men I've ever seen. I'm exaggerating. There's definitely stupider men in the world. But wow, you have to be actually turbo moron. You have got to be boofing idiot juice twice a day in order to actually think this is going to work out for you. Like, not only was he doing something highly illegal to one of the few companies in the world that will go out of their way to fuck anyone in the face no matter how small, he was including every possible means to track him. He gave a QR code for his Cash App on stream. Oh my god. His life is over. He would create new accounts after his old ones get disabled. Nintendo said he sent the company an email telling it that it has 1,000 burner channels and that he can do this all day. Man thought he was the Zodiac Killer, but against Nintendo. We found a user with the same name on Loco with streams of Super Mario Jamboree before it officially became available on the 17th. In addition to those two games, Nintendo listed the other games that the defendant played on video before release, including Echoes of Wisdom, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Super Mario RPG, Mario Bros. Wonder, Pikmin 4, Splatoon 3, Mario Strikers. Nintendo has also included screenshots of every Game Guru linking people to piracy tools in its lawsuit. I wonder how many people watch these. He had 59 followers on Twitter, so it's not exactly like he's, Kai Cenat out here breaking records with viewership. Man was risking life and limb for what? A couple tiddlywinks of clout? One screenshot showed a post where he wrote a step-by-step guide on how to play illegally downloaded ROMs, included links to Ryujinx, Yuzu, Suyu, and Sadachi Nintendo Switch emulators, links to websites that distribute game ROMs, and a link to a website where people can get Switch decryption keys necessary to be able to play the console's games. Capitalism is cancer, he wrote in the post in all caps. My channel is being deleted for sharing gameplay videos. This is your reward. Brother, like, you're just doing something blatantly illegal. It actually has nothing to do with capitalism. Like, he's trying so hard to, like, co-opt something to make it sound, like, justifiable, like he's fucking V for Vendetta out here. What an idiot. What an actual idiot. Company is asking for $150,000 in damages per violation of its copyright. As 404 Media notes, that could add up to millions, seeing as Nintendo is accusing the defendant of streaming at least 10 games illegally in at least 50 occasions. This is going to be the next Garry Bowser. Every games guru is going to be in Nintendo's servitude for the rest of his life, paying dividends forever. Half of his paycheck every month from this day forth, well, once the lawsuit's finalized, will go directly to Nintendo's bank account. That was his name, right? Garry Bowser? The previous guy that Nintendo butt-fucked? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was. Okay, I thought so. For those that don't remember, Garry Bowser was a guy that got into some hot water with some modification tools. When it comes to Nintendo property, they weren't super happy about it. He was making a lot of money off of it. They eventually sued him. They threw him in jail. And now, for the rest of his life, basically, he will be paying them back. Also, I might be misremembering Garry Bowser. It might be Doug Bowser. It's either Doug or Garry Bowser. I can't remember which one's the CEO of Nintendo in America. Nope, Garry Bowser. I had it right the first time. Hack seller Garry Bowser says Nintendo can take 25% of his monthly income. Basically forever, because he owes so much money to them. And he's already 53 years old. So every game's guru, you and Garry Bowser about to be best boys. Can he even pay half that in his entire lifetime? Nope, it's not even about that. It's just about sending a message. And now they're doing the same to every game guru. This guy is, like, exceptionally stupid, though. Like, this is a completely different level of being dumb. If only everyone kept their mouth shut. You know what's crazy? If every single person, all of them that you can count on one hand, kept their mouth shut about every game guru streaming illegal games before they released, he still would have been caught because he sent them a fucking email. This guy couldn't keep his own mouth shut. He sent the company an email itself in order to put himself on their radar. This man just wanted to, like, ruin his life. He said, you know what? I'm a little too happy. I need to fuck that. And he did. World's dumbest crash out. It's gotta be up there. It seems so personal. Like, hating Nintendo, I get it. I'm right there with you. This, you're not even fighting against them, you're just fighting yourself. This is just so nonsensical. And he had so many opportunities to stop. So many. He has some devious plans we don't know about yet. That's true. He could be doing this right now with his hands as his plan comes together. Yes, I wanted to be sued for millions of dollars in damages from Nintendo. It's all coming together. I just checked out Vaughn Live. There's one stream under the gaming category by Poker Otai. It has 0 views. You know, yeah, let me see some of these websites he was using to stream, because I haven't heard of half of these. Let's start with Vaughn. Vaughn.live. Live stream your life. Vaughn Live. Possibly the greatest live. Let's see. How many total viewers does this site have right now? The top stream on Vaughn has 72 people watching, I think. It's got ads out the wazoo, though. God, using this site without an ad block is miserable. There's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ads just right in your face off a rip. More ads than streamers. This actually does look like a virus. m.nemo.tv is the best social live streaming community for watching live show, game live, or have a free chat. Participate in real-time interaction or video. This one at least has some gaming on it right away. Let's see, the top streamer right now. This one, okay, so this one's more of an international one. So this one seems pretty popular, actually. And then Picarto. Someone already told me what Picarto was, but I'm gonna look it up myself. Apparently it's a not suitable for work art streaming site. Picarto, the world's best create live streaming service. Come watch your favorite artists and creative minds. Don't think I can pull it up on stream. There's not even a gaming category. Not that I can find. Didn't even know DLive was still up. Oh, I forgot to check DLive. How's DLive doing? We actually did a check-in on DLive about a year ago. Your stream, your rules. Are they still using lemons? Still doing lemon party over there or whatever, where like the currency is lemons? It seems like they've got 1 or 2, 4, 6. They have over 10,000 viewers right now on DLive. I don't know how to order it by top streamer. What's DLive? Oh, do you not remember DLive? This was back with the whole Mixer hype when there was streaming competitors, and PewDiePie signed to DLive and made that video about how he's streaming exclusively on DLive. Like, they must have really, like, put a bag on PewDiePie for that. And he went to DLive, nobody followed him, and then PewDiePie was like, yeah, this shit sucks, and left like in a month. DLive was after Mixer? Yeah, I don't remember the timeline. It was just during that era where people were signing deals away from Twitch or going elsewhere besides Twitch. Kaiba deals? Actual Kaiba deal, yeah. I mean, it was smart. Take a bag, semi-retire for a little bit, then come back. That was the Mixer model. And the Facebook Live model. Because the audience was still here. So it's not like people really lost anything by taking, like, the Mixer deals or the Facebook deals. That's what it would look like if I was reading this news for the first time about the Microsoft price increases. But I read it earlier and I already got all my frustration out of the way privately, screaming into a pillow. This isn't some make-believe fish paste, a little video game industry boogeyman here with some false reports. This is confirmed that Microsoft will be increasing all of their prices across the board on hardware as well as accessories. And most notably, they are increasing the price on their Xbox first-party games to $80, following in line with what Nintendo's doing with some of their games. Now, you may notice, if you've got some keen peepers on you, I'm not in my normal domain. I'm in a hotel room. I'm in hiding, because I knew I'd need to escape because I'm about to criticize Nintendo again while talking about Microsoft, and Nintendo fans don't like that. So we gotta play it safe here. Nintendo, I think, has set the trend here. They've broken the seal that $80 games will be accepted by people. And by people, I mean gamers, which is a different kind of person, because they will accept any kind of shit you feed them at any price point, it seems. And now, since that case has been made, with the Switch 2 making record-breaking pre-orders, apparently, Microsoft feels confident that they can do the same, and they'll follow suit, and I imagine other big boys in the gaming industry will also do the same, because being able to put the squeeze on gamers' piggy bank a little bit stronger is good for the bottom line. And since a lot of people are defending the $80 price tag, gaming companies are going to go in that direction, and thus it'll most likely be the new norm. But I am surprised it's happening this quick. I thought there'd still be more of a buffer before other big gaming industry giants jumped on board the $80 price tag. Now, of course, Nintendo's not solely to blame here. A lot of it will obviously fall on the uncertainty with tariffs and all of that. That's absolutely a factor here, no doubt. And obviously it's something a lot of people are unhappy about. Except for the mindless drones who do free PR for multi-billion-dollar gaming corporations fighting their battles day and night on Twitter in the trenches to defend their honor, just so they can continue to be exploited for their piggy bank. So anyway, it's been a lot of talk on this subject throughout the day. Everyone is, weighing in, and it's been a big discussion, but there's been a surprising lack of coverage and a lack of discussion around my hot ass and this fucking fart I'm about to shit out. I don't know if the webcam mic could pick that up, but that was American made. That's tariff-free right there, I'll promise you that. The point is, though, $80 games sucks. And it's not like the price tag is indicative of a quality increase across the board, because in a lot of cases, the main formula these gaming companies look to exploit is live service. So you're paying $80 for oftentimes games that are incomplete and are only tended to after you've paid the $80, and then they'll go in and try and make it better down the line. So you're paying more money for a less complete project in a lot of cases. Of course, that's not an absolute statement. That's not a blanket across the board. But in general, we've seen this a lot in recent years where the idea is push it out now, let's make money now, we'll fix it later. And I really cannot understand how anyone could see the state that gaming is in right now and be like, yeah, it makes sense. I'll pay $80 for these games that keep coming out that are fucking broken on launch, missing half of the content that they've promised. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, that is pathetic. Like, no one should be happy about the direction of $80 games coming up right now. Anyway, though, I'd like to read you their pricing update that they just posted. As of May 1st, we have adjusted recommended retailer pricing for our consoles and controllers worldwide. We also expect to adjust the pricing of some of our new first-party games starting this holiday season to $79.99. Those titles purchased on the Xbox Store have the benefit of Xbox Play Anywhere, allowing players to buy once and play on console and PC at no additional cost. We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. The rising cost of development is something I've talked about a lot, how every game costs like $100 million now and like 6 years of development just baking it in the oven only to come out and be just underwhelming. That is 100% on them. It's not like the industry norm. There are so many indie games that have proven you don't need $100 million budgets to deliver extraordinary experiences. It's just these suits, these fucking corpo zombies at the top of the food chain that are so delusional. They're seeing Hollywood investing $320 million in the fucking stinkerooskies like Electric State and then being like, we need to do that for video games. So that's been the direction they've gone for the last almost 10 years now. But I have said very loudly for a long time, the actual future of AAA gaming is by doing smaller projects that require less time to develop and less money and smaller teams. That to me, I feel like that's a no-brainer. Like, there are so many examples in recent years you can pull from of small teams or even one-man teams delivering game of the year like quality experiences. You don't need to be dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the next Concorde. Like, it's just a stupid path, but they keep talking about it like it's an inevitability, how development cost has to continue rising, and every studio needs 500 developers all working on Assassin's Creed Shadows 2. Like, it's just super unnecessary. It is so much bloat for no reason. Instead, just put your money where your ass is and just invest in good projects that don't need to be like a super grand slam to make a single oodle of money back on the investment. Like, just think about how much a game has to sell in order to be profitable in the AAA space right now. Even if you do have a game that does really well, it's a good chance it doesn't make any money back because you've put so much money into it over the course of so many years that it'd need to sell like a fucking $1 billion worth of revenue in order to see it go green even slightly. Whereas if you had a bunch of smaller projects that don't need to be these crazy miracle home runs to make money, you stand a chance. Like, I really think the Blumhouse model, this is the one I always mention, where Blumhouse finances like fucking 100 horror movies a year that all cost like $2 to $5 million. And you probably haven't even heard of half of these absolute turbo shitters, but They only need to make like $10 million, $15 million to be like a super success for the company. And they always do. It's very rare that a Blumhouse film doesn't make more than the budget because it's so cheap to produce and it doesn't take that long. So it's a model that is proven efficient and works. And there are so many games that prove that model works too. But AAA is just so hell-bent on just dumping as much infinite money as they can into like one or two projects over the course of so many years, and they just end up being like super safe, Weenie Hut Jr., uninteresting, and even if they do moderately well, it's not good enough because it needs to do extraordinarily well to make any money back because too much went into that fucking pit producing it. And it's only going to get worse now at $80 being the norm because more and more people are getting priced out of buying AAA games. So what's going to happen naturally, more and more people are going to start pirating the games. But anyway, I'm rambling about things I've talked about a lot already. It's just, this is something a lot of people saw coming with $80 being the new norm once that floodgate was opened. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, so it sucks to see. And I just kind of wanted to rant about it a little bit here. That's about it, so yeah.
Nintendo and lawsuits go together like cereal and milk. They are no stranger to dishing out lawsuits. They would sue an 8-year-old if they found out that their grandmother made them a Mario nightlight. They've been this way for years, so it's no surprise that they're suing Palworld. I'm actually surprised it took them this long. For a while, I thought it maybe wasn't going to happen because Palworld, when it came out, everyone compared it to Pokemon. I called it Pokemon with guns, everyone called it Pokemon with guns, and it was one of the biggest games to launch of the year. Well, one of the biggest games to launch in general on Steam. So it's not like a game that flew under the radar. Nintendo would have been alerted to it. Well, that is assuming they use the internet, which is a far-fetched notion. They only just recently learned what email was like 5 years ago, so who really knows? They're probably still working off dial-up over there because that company is so fucking archaic and out of touch. But there is a very slim chance that they weren't aware of Palworld, and they vaguely talked about it. They did make some posts back when Palworld was popping off that they will do anything they can to protect their copyright. And they also announced that they were going to be investigating, but a lot of time passed, tumbleweeds started to blow through, there was cobwebs on the story, nothing came from it, so I started to assume that maybe they didn't find anything that they had any real legal ground to pursue Palworld over. But it turns out that was wrong. Instead, they spent all this time charging their alt. So now Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have jointly filed against the company behind Palworld, Pocket Pair. Also, I'll just go ahead and say what everyone's thinking. Pocket Pair, I mean, that's kind of on the nose. Like, there are things here like that seem extremely close to Pokemon. But anyway, we'll talk about the actual patent infringement lawsuit in a moment. I want to talk about Palworld itself. I and many others really liked Palworld because for the first time in at least a decade, it felt fresh. Nintendo's just let Pokemon get super stale and recycled. And somehow they can't even just hit copy and paste correctly half the time. Like the newest one, Scarlet and Violet, was a fucking mess. That game looks worse than some of the Pokemon games that came before it. It's when you continuously download a JPEG and it ends up looking like some kind of fucking cursed images straight from one of the circles of hell. That's kind of what Pokemon's become. It is just the same game regurgitated endlessly, and even when they do try and do a few new things like with Legends of Arceus, it's half-baked, so they don't even fully realize some new concepts they might want to try. It's just, most people, like me clearly, have really lost their faith in Nintendo to deliver a good Pokemon game. Enter Palworld. They take the Pokemon formula and they make it feel fun and exciting. And yes, of course, to the hall monitors out there, you'd be lying to yourself if you said that the pals were totally unique looking. There are some pals in the game that look almost identical to Pokemon counterparts. It looks like they just changed a few colors. But you're not going to hear me whining about that, not going to order any french fries there and shed tears over them having similar designs from their pals to Pokemon, because Pokemon doesn't fucking use them for anything worthwhile. So, I don't really care. I'm not going to be upset on behalf of a billion-dollar company for it, but I did think this was going to be the strongest case Nintendo had against Palworld, because the designs are almost identical in some situations. But it doesn't seem like that's what they're going for. So, the patent infringement lawsuit. That means that they believe Palworld infringes on a patent they hold. So, not like designs or anything. Instead, they are seeking an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages, which indicates the lawsuit is civil. And according to an attorney, the fact that it's a patent infringement suit and not a copyright claim means the case isn't about copies of Pokemon themselves, but rather some aspects of the game design that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company protect as a new invention patented. That really raised a few eyebrows because, like I said, the main thing people point out is how similar the designs of some pals are to Pokemon. So you would think that they'd go after them for a copyright infringement, like, hey, you've taken our characters and you've made one-to-one knockoffs. You've made bootleg Pokemon over here. But they're not. They're not trying to make the argument, hey, you took a Rayquaza from us and turned it into a Rayquazar in Palworld. They're going after them for patents, meaning like technical inventions that they own the rights to. So in when it comes to games, sometimes things that are patented are mechanics. So the most notable one that I see referenced a lot, and it's one that I think about from time to time, is the Nemesis system from the oh my god, my nose is really getting congested here. Is the Nemesis system from like Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. That's an incredible system, and there's a reason you've never seen it used since. It's because Warner Bros. Has that patent and they just shove it up their ass and just sit on it. They don't use it, and no one else can use it because it's patented. There was also a really notable one. You know mini games that used to be in the loading screen of games a long time ago? Well, that was patented as well, so there was a reason why you no longer had mini games when a game was loading for such a long time. It was patented. Now, conceptual and visual similarities aside, Palworld and Pokemon play wildly different. Palworld is a survival game with an emphasis on exploration, building, and combat. Like, you use fucking guns. Like, it is wildly different from a Pokemon game from a gameplay perspective and what you're actually doing. So, it's weird to target that. However, it seems, and this is the best guess that people have, that Nintendo has a patent on video game character throwing an item to catch a monster while out in a field. So, the Japanese application specifically refers to Pokemon Legends Arceus, which allows players to throw Pokeballs in the overworld rather than limit catching to wild battles. It also includes what looks to be a version of the game's Pokedex pages, which track information like how many times the player has encountered the Pokemon in question or has seen it use a specific move. Palworld does contain catching mechanics similar to Pokemon Legends Arceus, so this may be one of the patents included in the lawsuit. Additionally, developer Pirate Software speculates that the lawsuit relates to Palworld's Pal Spheres, which are similar to Pokeballs, and Nintendo filed a patent for this in Japan back in 2021 and got it approved in 2023. I think the speculation is probably correct here. Those are like the two main gameplay mechanics that Palworld has that Pokemon also has. I can't really think of any others off the top of my head that are patented, at least. So I think that's probably where they're heading with this lawsuit. And I know a lot of people have talked about this, but I want to echo it. Patenting gameplay mechanics fucking sucks. It stifles creativity because a mechanic can work as a foundation that others can build upon and create something beautiful out of. That's like the very definition of how some art blossoms. It starts somewhere and it evolves through others doing similar things but growing it in different ways. So if you patent something and forbid anyone else from touching it, it really sucks for every person that's not the company with the patent. I'm going to use the Nemesis example again. The Nemesis system could have been a staple in gaming, but instead it is now only in 2 games. Granted, both games are bangers, but if we could have seen that explored in other titles, that could have been one of the best new mechanics of the modern age. I love the Nemesis system. That had so much potential, and now it just festers. It sucks. Nobody wins there, except for Warner Bros., I guess, because they have a gold mine that they refuse to tap into. So, when it comes to gameplay mechanics being patented, I'm not extremely happy about that, but that's the legal ground that they're going to stand on and attack Palworld for, and I guess we'll see how it plays out. Palworld has responded. To sum up their statement, they're saying that they're going to be going through all the legal proceedings and investigations, and they don't know what specific patents they're accused of infringing upon because they have not been notified. They then go on to explain that they're a smaller indie game company based in Tokyo, and they just want to create fun games that bring people joy. They then say it's unfortunate we'll be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to the lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. So it doesn't sound like they know exactly what they're being targeted for with the patent infringements yet. I'm assuming that'll come later down the legal proceedings since this is still very early into it. And I guess we'll see how it plays out. I imagine Nintendo probably wouldn't, well, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company probably wouldn't pick this legal battle if they weren't confident they could win. These are billion-dollar companies going after Palworld now. That's going to be tough. Or maybe it won't be. Maybe they have a trick up their sleeve to prove they didn't infringe on any copyright. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Anyway, though, that's about it. So, yeah.
Nintendo forcing Garry's Mod to delete 20 years worth of content. They're actually making a stink about Nintendo property being in Gmod now? Is there nothing Nintendo won't ruin? They have to be the most joyless corporation on the planet. No exaggeration, it's gotta be Nintendo, hands down. There's more joy from cigarette producers than there is Nintendo. That's incredible. Wow. Wow! I actually did not expect that. I have to look into this. There's no way. This has got to be some kind of misunderstanding. No shot. I heard it's not actually Nintendo, but some known DMCA imposter. We'll go through this. I've got to find out now. Didn't Nintendo sue a 10-year-old's birthday party, or was that a meme? They've sued so many people and cease and desisted so many, I don't know. That sounds like something Nintendo would do, but the one that always stands out to me is it was Marvel. And they shut down a child's gravestone having Spider-Man on it. Nintendo would send a cease and desist letter to a toddler for drawing a picture of Mario without paying them. That is the Nintendo way. So they've been issued a takedown notice by Nintendo. As a result, Face Punch Studios, developers behind Garry's Mod, are in the process of removing about 20 years worth of Nintendo-related content from the game. In an update to Garry's Mod Steam page, the developer stated, "Some of you may have noticed that certain Nintendo-related workshop items have been taken down. This is not a mistake. The takedowns came from Nintendo." That certainly doesn't sound fake. Is that currently still the case right now with the game? Nintendo stuff on Steam Workshop. We're working on removing all Nintendo-related stuff from Steam Workshop. Some of you may have noticed that certain Nintendo... Yep, we just read that. Honestly, this is fair enough. This is Nintendo's content, and what they allow and don't allow is up to them. They don't want you playing with that stuff in Garry's Mod. That's their decision. We have to respect that and take down as much as we can. This is an ongoing process as we have 20 years of uploads to go through. If you want to help us by deleting your Nintendo-related uploads and never uploading them again, that would help us a lot. That does sound like old Scrooge. Nintendo. We're going to see if it's actually Nintendo or not. Regardless of if it's actually Nintendo, it seems whoever is behind it is successfully bullying Nintendo-related property off of Garry's Mod. So they're already causing a huge change to it in a negative way. I don't see who would do that other than Nintendo, but let's continue. Nintendo-themed add-ons seem to have begun getting taken down a few months ago, though Face Punch didn't publicly divulge that the company had issued the takedowns until earlier today. The process has been ongoing since then, and the developers are still working to remove it all, which is understandably a Herculean task. I mean, this has to be Nintendo, right? Like, there's no way it's been months off fake DMCAs. Especially not against a big company like this. Like, Garry's Mod is still one of the most successful Steam games there is. Like, surely the company would be able to recognize if it actually came from Nintendo or a imposter, I would think. You underestimate how much trolls and annoying Nintendo fans love this shit. There's no Nintendo fan out there that's offended that Mario and Luigi are shooting tampons in Garry's Mod. Like, I don't think they're gonna go out there and actively try and take it down by committing a crime, by impersonating Nintendo. Bro, look at the Nintendo fans who had a crusade against Palworld. I guess. But I mean, that's just like Twitter, though. This is criminal. Oh, here's a post from 8 days ago. Aaron Peters, the destroyer of add-ons. This came up when I was looking into it, or when I looked that up. Lately, there's been chaos in the workshop of Gmod, TF2, Source Filmmaker, Left 4 Dead 2, etc. An internet troll by the name of Aaron Peters has been false flagging content creators' add-ons with fake DMCAs. This troll has been claiming he's part of Nintendo, which in fact he is not, and has been doing nothing but causing chaos for the past few months, probably at the start of January. That timeline does check out for what we just read. He has managed to target add-ons that are Nintendo or Nintendo-related. In some cases, he's managed to get rid of any add-ons that even have a smudge of a Nintendo character, even in a piece of art. I don't know if his goal is to get rid of Gmod video creators or just ruin everyone's fun in creating content. He has managed to ruin everybody's day, and I can't blame them. Awareness must be spread about this. People must know about this, because for all we know, he could even target add-ons that aren't even Nintendo-related. Well, yeah, he's obviously not affiliated. He could target anything. He just chose Nintendo to be an asshole because it's the biggest. The Kirby Reanimated collab claims that their videos were taken down by a third party abusing DMCA takedowns, which isn't the first time this would have happened, by the way. This actually happened a few years ago it wasn't the same guy, I don't think, but for Nintendo properties, someone did this as well on YouTube. This company, which doesn't have any clear links to Nintendo, has reportedly been targeting Nintendo. Well, I guess maybe it could be the same guy, just using different names. He keeps fleeing the countries. He goes on these rampages, then leaves the country and assumes a new identity only to do it a couple years later. The name of the company doing these takedowns is A-PAB. Been targeting Kirby creators in particular. Allegations that APAB is the real entity behind the copyright claims date back to 2020, with one creator saying that they reached out to Nintendo and received confirmation that it was not responsible for the strikes on their channel. Oh. Nintendo officially confirmed that they've never flagged any Kirby video, which makes me wonder what is the motive behind APAB's flagging. All I know is that APAB also ruined many channels in Japan as well by false flagging. I'm really hoping someone investigates this company, because what they're doing is 100% DMCA abuse. It's also a crime. The last guy that did this in Minecraft got fined 25 grand for each instance. This guy's on the hook for millions. The company's name stands for Association for Promotion of Advanced Broadcasting Services, but information on the entity is scarce. So, I know this has happened on YouTube, but I just can't imagine it happening to a full studio like Face Punch. I don't know. That seems... I feel like they do their due diligence on where the DMCA came from. I would really think. So, this is bogus DMCA claims made by a copyright troll claiming to be working for Nintendo of America, targeting add-ons from Nintendo franchises in the Steam workshop. So they've been looking to find and take down the individual responsible for this, as well as spread awareness. So Workshoppers Brewster T. Koopa, Crispy Toast, and Z Pyromancer's voice actor Electric Star. February 11, 2024, Brewster posted a plethora of tweets involving false DMCAs on Twitter. Okay, I thought this was going to link the tweets. It just got me to an explanation of what Twitter is. Unlucky. In the same day, Crispy Toast uploaded a video titled Reply Nintendo Gmod add-ons taken down, an entry into the Re-Demoman series of videos. Let's see.
I'm sorry.
That does about sum it up. Aaron Peters. Okay, here's the first mention of that name with some evidence. Aaron Peters, our prime suspect here, the Jack the Ripper of Nintendo add-ons. Hours after the video was posted, Brewster T. Koopa revealed that the individual had sent DMCA emails to almost all Nintendo-based Gmodders, including himself, which reveals the troll's name, Aaron Peters. So he's just... Wait, is he actually just sending emails? I see why that would work on content creators, but surely Face Punch wouldn't just fall victim to this. This is like a phishing scam. Aaron Peters, Nintendo of America. Okay, that's not his real name then. That's just the alias he's using. There is no Aaron Peters. It was discovered that Peters had a history of sending fake DMCAs to pretty much anyone that contained Nintendo-related properties in the past, including not suitable for work artists and even Fraymaker's Workshop. Pillow Fort user MKLXIV shared a blog in 2019 that details their encounter with the troll. Peters' motivation as to why he sent fake DMCAs is currently unknown. This guy sounds like an absolutely colossal loser. March 4th, 2024, Crispy Toast uploaded a video called Garry's Mod False Nintendo DMCA Claims, the story, detailing the entire story about the false DMCA claims in the tweets above. Oh, nice. So you already broke down like the whole thing here. What if he was actually hired by Nintendo in secret because they know their lawyers couldn't be paid enough for even that level of heinous shit? Oh, he's just a fall guy? That would be an interesting theory. I think the more likely theory is it's a guy struggling with mental illness and he just wants to do something, like in general, do something to have an effect negatively on others. I think that's probably what's going on here, would be my guess. I'm very confident this guy's name's not actually Aaron Peters, it's just what he's calling himself in these emails. What I think Nintendo should do, and I know they won't because they're still only just now figuring out the internet is a thing they can engage with, but what they should do is take this guy to court and fuck him. Like, he needs to be made an example out of. This is like the third or fourth time this has happened to Nintendo in particular, with people impersonating them for DMCA takedowns. But I think Nintendo's too out of touch to even consider that. But why? He's literally doing all their shit work for free. Yeah, but you also... Even though I'm sure Nintendo's not losing sleep over taking away people's fun, since they love that, it's still illegal to impersonate them, and I'm sure they're not happy about that. I'd really like to know more about this mysterious fucking turbo douchebag, though. Because he's been doing this for years? But it does seem now that Gmod has been hit by this guy, not Nintendo. I'm just kind of surprised that Facepunch wouldn't have done more to investigate if they're authentic DMCA claims or not. Again, they're one of Steam's most successful games. They probably could have a direct line to Valve and ask them, hey, have you guys received notice from Nintendo that we have to take our shit down? Yeah, there's a ton of shit on Aaron Peters dating back for quite a while. And there are just some weird people in the world, man. What an interesting thing to want to do. If Nintendo's reputation gonna get dragged through the mud, it's gotta be on their own terms. Also, should they give this Aaron guy the same treatment they did with that Switch-modifying Bowser guy? Oh! God, that poor soul. Yeah, I mean, if God, Aaron Peters probably sleeps with one eye open, because if Nintendo ever does decide to take action, his life is over. They fucked Bowser hard. That man is indebted to them for the rest of his life. What was his first name? Garry Bowser. Oh. They did him dirty. He went to jail, and he still owes them 25% of his monthly income for the rest of his life, till he makes over 10 million, I guess. Hey, I just want to come in here and let you know something that we're doing at Starforge. It turns out we have an extra Godslap PC, so we're just going to give it away. It's our highest end PC with the best possible design on it because it's Godslap related. At Starforge, we're making the best PCs in the universe, and the Godslap PC is so good that I'd actually extend that to the entire multiverse. Just look at the design of the case here. It's spectacular. So yeah, if you want to enter the giveaway, there's a link in the description. A winner will be chosen at random, so if you enter it, good luck. It's obviously free to enter. Also, we'd have matching PCs, because that's the PC I use. It's a Godslap PC from Starforge. It's fucking amazing. So yeah, that's about it. So yeah. It's very rare that I have anything positive to share about Nintendo. I've been a very outspoken and harsh critic of this company, not because I don't like the games. In fact, I think they make some of the most fun games ever produced, but the company itself is just run by out-of-touch dementors that love to suck the fun out of everything, going out of their way to be evil, shutting down Smash tournaments, spitting in the face of all of their fans, and they're just archaic. They're like 20 years late to everything. They're probably still learning what email is. I'll scream this from the mountaintops every chance I get. It is downright criminal that they're charging for the Nintendo Online service when it is unforgivably horrible. It's a joke. It's laughable. It's worse than dial-up, and you still have to pay for it. Point is, I have shit on Nintendo more times than a dog shits on the floor during potty training. But today, I have a very positive story to share about Nintendo, and more specifically, the Nintendo Switch. Recently, a child had been abducted by a predator, and thanks to a Nintendo Switch that the child brought, authorities were able to track her down and rescue her. I know Mutahar just posted a video about this story as well, but I couldn't help but talk about it too, given how harsh I've been on Nintendo in the past. I do want to highlight when they do some good things, like in this story. So what happened here is a 14-year-old girl met a 28-year-old man named Ethan Roberts on Omegle. The two started talking and eventually exchanged nudes, and Robert traveled 2,000 miles from Arizona to her hometown. Eventually, he kidnapped her, took her back to Arizona, and coerced her into meeting strangers on Omegle to sell them nudes via Snapchat. She was immediately reported missing by friends and family, and a large investigation took place trying to find her. They had boots on the ground looking for her throughout the area, putting up flyers, doing everything they can to try and find her, to no avail. Until one of her friends saw that she was online on her Nintendo Switch. She had booted it up to watch YouTube videos and download a game. So her friend alerted authorities, obviously, like, hey, she just logged in on Nintendo Switch. So the FBI pulled the Nintendo Switch's IP address after getting cooperation from Nintendo, so they subpoenaed the information. They had Nintendo fork over everything they had about the IP address of where the Switch was coming from, and the FBI was able to swoop in and save her from Ethan Roberts, the Omegle pedophile. Now, this is something that is mentioned in the article no one really even thought of, because someone's getting kidnapped, you're not really expecting them to have their phone or a fucking Nintendo Switch, a portable game console with them. But apparently what happened here is Ethan Roberts let her keep her Switch in order to stay entertained, and didn't realize that since it connects to Wi-Fi, it can be tracked easily. So one of her friends just noticed that she had logged in, like she was online, and was like, hey, this is definitely something interesting, I'll report it to the authorities here, and that's how they found her. Like, that shit must have been like the craziest revelation from her friend, like, oh wow, she's on her Switch right now. That shit must have been like in RuneScape when Zezima goes online and like everyone's eyes get like wide, like holy shit. Just the simple checking in the Nintendo Switch friends list saved her. And it's still just so baffling how this all unfolded. Super lucky, like very, very fortunate that she had her Switch, because most of the time in a kidnapping situation, they don't like have their phone or anything that has an internet connection, which makes it very difficult to find and save kidnapping victims. But in this case, she had a flare. She had like a perpetual bat signal that was just posted up with her location, but authorities didn't even think to check it. It was her friend that just happened to be on the Switch and saw she was online that noticed it. So that was a very lucky break that they took notice and reported it. I guess Ethan Roberts just assumed that since the Switch uses outdated hardware, that it can't be traced. The Nintendo Switch is locked to 30 FPS on games. It can hardly even play mobile games. I mean, there's no way it even connects to the internet. It's probably just a cup with string on it. It's so old and archaic. It doesn't even use real technology anymore. It's totally off the grid. No one's going to be able to trace a Switch. That's fine. Dude thought the Nintendo Switch was like some kind of encrypted device or something, I guess, or just the hardware was so old and obsolete that it was untraceable. I have no idea, but really fortunate that he allowed her to keep that Switch so she could be traced and saved here. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch connects to the internet, meaning it can easily be fucking traced. Now, Ethan Roberts has been indicted in federal court on multiple charges, including child pornography and transportation of a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, and after a plea deal, he was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. Personally, I don't think 30 years is long enough. I believe that should have been an even harsher sentence, but I'm not the judge. I didn't swing the gavel. But overall, this is a big W both from the FBI and Nintendo here. Nintendo did directly cooperate, and the FBI did act very quickly, actually, all within 11 days. And Nintendo was very quick to cooperate. They gave all the information necessary in order to track the IP and save the child's life. So just wanted to give a little positive story about Nintendo doing a great thing here, and that's really about it. So yeah. Ever since I watched the Pizza Hut training video, I've been inundated with recommendations for other training videos for a variety of things, such as Walmart Cum Inspector training from the 1970s, to veterinary technical assistants expressing anal dog glands training video. And through this, I was able to find Nintendo customer service training from 1991, so let's check this shit out.
You work hard. You do a good job. You're nice to your customers.
Here's our host, almost Bob Saget. I really like the effect on this video because it makes him look like some type of heavenly deity. It's like some porn set lighting here. It has that effect where if you saw this at 3 a.m., you'd immediately think it was just a dream and it never really existed.
Excuse me, I'd like to return this Nintendo. Who do I talk to about that?
Tell you what, you'll need to go right back there to the electronics area and they'd be happy to help.
I don't know what kind of store this is because that shit behind her does not look like games or movies. Those look like fucking power tools or something, but it's really hard to tell because it seems like somebody sneezed on the camera lens and they just didn't bother to clean it before filming.
Hi there. What can I do for you?
Customer service sent me over to talk to you to give this to you. If you take a look at it.
I can already imagine how this conversation would go in real life, off the training video, off book, raw and no rubber. Oh hi, excuse me, I bought this Nintendo Entertainment System, but it seems to have gotten in the way of my diarrhea. Can I exchange this for another one? I've never worked in customer service, but I imagine it's a pretty common occurrence where a customer brings something in covered in shit.
Do you know what's on here?
No. I mean, the kids couldn't have done anything. I mean, they're good kids.
Sometimes they'll put soft drink or something on there.
No. It's not soda pop. I don't know.
No, he's right about one thing. That's not soda pop. That's human poopy. And I have no idea why this brave Nintendo customer service agent is trying to flatten it like a pancake. What a fucking hero.
You people amaze me. You really amaze me. Your quality control people, they just have bats in the belfry. Bought this Game Boy yesterday, took it home, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No picture.
All of a sudden, Reddit walks in.
Just needed to turn up the contrast a bit. How's that look?
Oh. Of course, the contrast. I think that was probably my kid didn't, I'll take it.
You'll take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish the customer is stuck to his guns on this one. Yeah, you fixed it, so what, pussy? So what, big man? I was watching E3 this year and they announced Smash 5, so I bought this Game Boy and you know what I didn't find on it, huh, pal? I didn't find Smash 5 on it, so fix that shit, buddy. I still want my money back.
The controller doesn't work.
Oh.
Much. Oh, I'm
Now tell me, when you plugged it in, did you put it into port number 1 or port number 2?
I put it in port number 2.
Okay, well, plug it into number 1.
Hey kid, your mom's a fucking idiot. Moral of this lesson from the Nintendo customer service training is people are fucking dumb.
They all have one thing in common. They feel they have a problem. Now for the good news. Nintendo is doing something about it.
In comes the Nintendo private army where they execute people that are not smart enough to use their equipment.
Is you need to use this Nintendo cleaning kit. It's just like cleaning the heads in your VCR. It goes in there.
I like how the solution is to use the official Nintendo toothbrush to clean it out inside, as if the fucking Nintendo Entertainment System will explode if it detects a foreign object that isn't a Nintendo licensed brush to clean it. It makes a whole lot of sense from a business perspective though, and I bet they made a fucking killing selling these cleaning kits.
Special counter cards, on-package warranty information, and other collateral material will alert your customers to the simplicity of handling their questions or repair needs.
In a nutshell, the training consists of, yeah, we know people are dumb, but we, Nintendo, have made 2,000 ways of telling them exactly who to call and where to go to get things handled, instead of going to the local mechanic at the nearest Jiffy Lube hoping that he'll be able to fix your Nintendo Entertainment System. So in essence, all they're saying is, you in customer service, just tell them to call us. That's the training. So in essence, the Nintendo customer service training video from 1991 is basically teaching people how to hand out pieces of paper to angry customers that want to return shit.